Today's conversation starting cocktail is the classic and potent tiki drink, the Zombie. The reason I chose the Zombie for today's drink is because the last year, maybe two, it certainly felt like working with buyers in this market is a completely different world, almost as if a zombie apocalypse has occurred. We're taking our clients out, competing against very limited resources, changing the conversation. The market has changed. So today, the classic tiki drink, the Zombie. So today's topic is working with buyers in this crazy market. And so what do you guys think has changed in the market in terms of working with buyers?
It's a lot harder.
It certainly is.
For them, anyway.
I've been doing this for 28 years. And so haven't seen a lot of changes. But what I really feel is changed is, the buyers used to get to have a lot of choices or see homes a second time to make these decisions. And now they have to be prepared to make these huge decisions on a moment's notice. And so that's one of the biggest things, I think I see.
And you're seeing a lot more people buy homes sight unseen.
Yeah.
Which is not something I've seen very much of until recently.
How's that impact the lender world if they're buying it sight unseen?
I mean, to me, it's fine if they want to do that, but it also, when they finally do see it, is that going to cause an issue for them? And are they going to, not want to go through with it? But fortunately, I haven't had to see very much of that other than investors. Investors and I work with a lot of investors, and there's a lot of investors that do that all the time. So those haven't really been a problem, but it just makes that. I've seen a lot more people, a lot more agents that I work with are using video to show everybody.
Right, so it just turns into another scenario where you're having to answer a bunch of questions after you've gone under contract.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
I get that, yeah. What else?
From my experience is in 2020, the market I'm at, Overland Park, Olathe, just Johnson County area. In 2020, 2019, there are rooms for negotiation, but when it comes to 2021 and 22, now we're seeing, a lot of either the properties, they priced it low and you have to add a lot of money into it over asking, or they price it just about right, or it's even higher, and you have to go, 20, sometimes 50,000 over asking. Mm-hmm. So it's definitely because of the inventory, the low inventory, you are competing with more and more people. And I think, it's definitely hard for first-time home buyers who don't have a lot of deep pockets. They care about their monthly payments. Right. And also it's hard for investors as well, for the mama papa investors. Mm-hmm. I have heard people, listing agents tell me they don't specifically. They say my sellers, they don't like investors. They don't want to sell. They say it's not those mama papa investors. It's because of people from out of state. They have a lot of money and they just beat up all the first time home buyers. I think it is definitely.
They have cash. And first time home buyers don't have cash. And investors have cash.
Absolutely.
So that certainly probably changes the conversation up front when you're talking with a buyer and setting their expectations, right? So. In my 21-year career, I remember the conversations where we used to say, "What's your wish list? What would you love to have a finished basement?"
And now they're like a house.
So our conversations have changed. So we're literally saying, "What is the one thing maybe that you must have, and we'll see if we can find it in the marketplace." I mean, I know that's changed from my conversation.
Are you guys seeing people with that, their expectations are having to be lowered a little bit?
For sure.
Absolutely.
And it makes me nervous because sometimes when buyers do that, they get cold feet after doing that.
Even their search criteria, it's I'm pre-approved of 300, but we better only look to 275 because
you're gonna have to add.
You're gonna fall in love with something at 3 that's gonna sell for 325 or 50, and then you're never happy with what you find again because I want that house that was 3, but it wasn't 3.
And those are tough conversations to have. I mean, the buyer, it's hard for them to get their head around a concept like that. And so they're predetermined, or they're predisposed to searching in a certain way, and they're searching for what they can afford. They just don't realize what they can afford on paper is different from what the market is.
And same with rates, like what they could afford maybe 2 months ago, they might, with the rates changing like they have been, they might be completely priced out of what they were looking at, just because of ratios, which that's what we're seeing. A lot of first-time home buyers are kind of getting priced out of that.
You know, even not just first-time home buyers. So a lot of these people are getting their next home, right? So they remember how it was when they were buying last time. And now you have to have these really hard conversations about what's your backup plan, because your house needs to be under contract before you can make an offer, because when you're in these competitive 16, 20 contracts, you can't be contingent on a house that's not on the market. So what, you know, all of these people are like, well, I'm going to go move in with my family, or, you know, but it's sometimes sad to me because I'm hearing some buyers just in conversation, they're like, oh, you're a realtor. And so they want to have a conversation, and then they're like, well, I've been trying and trying. And then I realized their agents are not setting the right expectations of, you know, you need to have a significant down payment. You need to, unfortunately, you know, maybe waive inspections or waive the right to renegotiate based on those inspections, or, you know, appraisal gaps, appraisal waivers. And it's so sad to me. It's so sad to me to have to say to people, yeah, you're going to pay more than it's listed for, and you should be happy that you got it. You know, I mean,
that's so true.
And there, you know, you have these conversations with people, and they're like, well, what did we end up getting it for? Like, how much over did we pay? Because they're doing escalatories or whatever else.
Which a long time ago, not that long ago, is what kind of deal did we get? Those are not the conversations we're having anymore, which has totally changed.
And even the contingency on the close is a problem.
Yeah, I know.
When you've got 12 offers, it's like, why would I take a risk on somebody's loan falling apart on the purchase of your home? And
that's why we're seeing a lot of people take advantage of the recasts, where they can put, you know, 5% down, but they can buy that not contingent on selling their house. Then once they do sell their house, they can go ahead and put that big chunk towards, and it re-amortizes
I
their loan.
called you this week.
And strategies have changed. You know, I reach out to title people all the time, like, Natalie, help me help my process, right? So I think we've all, as agents, have been looking for things in the field that can help us be more efficient, to communicate with our clients better, to be able to do things on the fly. Like, you know, you talk about your app that you guys have. I mean, that has been a lifesaver in the field.
Yes, it is. We have the
Offer.
multi-contract.
Everything.
I was just trying so hard to talk. I couldn't get in the conversation.
That's not like you, Natalie.
But yeah, multi-offers. There's a ton of those in our apps. Don't handle that great. But on the title side, what we've seen a lot is that the Midwest is very desirable right now, because what we have, and I mean, we get what we pay for here. We have people on the coast. I think we have one closing a week. Someone from the coast moving in that sold their property for millions, and then they're bringing it in here, and they're bringing in the cash.
Right.
And they're getting the cash deals, and they're, like Jackson said, overbidding $30,000 to $50,000 for this house, and they're getting them, and they're thinking it's a great
I was going to say, they think it's like, I have a bunch of
I feel like we got the coast and people really wanting to be in the Midwest because they see that it's affordable to live here. But it really...
So clearly we've all had to adapt to this market. I mean, what is the biggest adaptation that you see out there? Is it preparing the buyer for the process? Is it preparing them for how the process has changed? Is it preparing them for the sticker shock? What is it?
kind of
for the disappointments.
I was just,
Losing
all
three
of
deals
them.
before you get one.
Because with first-time home buyers, they've never experienced it before.
Yeah, you
But
need
with
to educate
the
them.
buyers that have done this a couple times, it's letting them know, like, hey, here's what's changed in the industry, and then be prepared to get disappointed if you don't get the house. I always tell my buyers, it wasn't meant to be. It wasn't the right
totally
house.
agree. There's always another house.
The basement's gonna flood next week. Don't worry about it.
Another thing I think is very important is always being honest. Tell them the truth.
Yes.
Yeah.
Truth is hard to to swallow sometimes.
Yeah.
It is.
But truth is absolutely the best thing you can tell your buyer. This is the market right now, and this is what we got. This is your budget. This is your pre-approval, and we might, if the buyer looking for the max is 300. Don't look at the houses that are 290
Right.
or 280
That's so true.
or even 275.
Right.
Because it depends on where you at. It's gonna go sometimes
You have to be
310.
realistic.
No,
You
but
know?
maybe if it's been on the market now for 3
Yeah.
weeks. so-
Yeah. Oh yeah.
days.
Yeah, 3 days. That don't.
So,
That doesn't happen.
No.
but yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's so important is telling people, setting their expectations so that they can listen to you. And, sometimes it is powerful for those people that are selling and then buying because they've now been on the other side. So I think it's just really important to make sure people have those good expectations. You're setting those expectations. But also, I agree with Lindsay. I can't believe how many houses I sold last year where my clients didn't see it until the day they moved in, or maybe a week or so before closing. And, having to learn how to show a house effectively with a video and being able to work with whatever devices that they use and trying to show them everything. And mine
changing how you do
weren't
business.
investors.
Right.
These
Yeah.
were people, young families
from
that were
out of
like,
town
we
that are
need to
moving here."
move, we need to move here because of a job change or whatever else. But I think it's awesome that we have these tools at our fingertips, right? Can you imagine having to do that in early 2000s when we had a similar market, right? In 2001, 2002, it was a very aggressive seller's market as well. So, we're back to that. But the nice thing is, at least I feel confident for most of our buyers that their equity is there and that their equity is going to stay. So I'm not as fearful for them to, pay that 10 or 20 or 30 over. I'm seeing about, I would say it's anywhere from 10 to 20%, depending on your price tier. But at least
appraisal
I
values
feel
are
like
there right
if they're
now.
going to stay, I don't think we're going to get out of this market in a quick manner, right? I'm hoping it slows a little, but it's not going to happen overnight.
Balance would be nice, but that seems so far off. I mean, you can't even wrap your head
where's the
around what
inventory for
balance
that?
looks like in this market today because of the building gaps. I mean, there's a whole litany of reasons why we're in the situation we're in, and it is not a bubble.
I was just going to say, so many people are like, oh, we're in a bubble.
It's just a misnomer that the marketplace has grabbed a hold of. That is one thing that if the marketplace could just learn what's happening in the market, that would help us educate our buyers because they are already coming to us with something that is not real, right? They're coming to us with this concept that is just not there. And we're having to do a huge education to make that happen. So, any other spots in the marketplace that we've seen innovation or anything that you've seen, say, after we're under contract that's changed? So once we win that deal, is there anything that we're seeing change there?
Well, no one negotiates repairs anymore.
That's,
right?
inspections are
I mean,
like,
I haven't had a deal.
So that means you have to have the cash in your pocket to do those
to
things.
do
right?
anything.
Yeah.
Right. And I think as an agent, you have to be able to advise them on what they're looking at, right? So you might be like, hey, this is a great house because the heating and air, they're 3 years old, but hey, this roof is 20 years old, so you need to be planning on replacing that sometime in the near future. But I think it speaks even more volumes about having a professional
do it.
realtor that's helping you and feeling confident that they are knowledgeable about that. And I think it's even more important for our agents to be coming to meetings, learning as much as they can, because that's our.
Well, it's huge. I'll plug my friend Jeff here just because he's my broker, and having your broker at your fingertips in this type of environment is critical. Having the ability to bounce things off the person that knows way more than I do in this market. Well, I'll give you a little bit of credit, but it's important to have your broker pick up the phone. So thank you, because I appreciate that.
Yeah, and also I think connections are very important. After your house under contract, definitely want to communicate with lenders, your buyer's lenders.
And your
Lindsay
title company.
title company, you
Right
want to make sure it closes, right? And also, as far as probably you're going to be replacing carpets yourself, and then or roof or stuff like, you might need to a good contractor.
Having those people in your pocket.
Yeah, absolutely. Have those people
Are you
under
guys
the pocket.
are you guys seeing buyers like are you guys advising buyers to buy warranties? Because it used to be, that the seller that you would negotiate that into the contract. I'm seeing a lot of my younger buyers closing so that they can cover, do a lot of that stuff. And so are you guys advising buyers to
I
do
know
that?
we're going to wrap up our video component,
Sure.
continue with the audio podcast. So
Right.
maybe we just transition into a discussion about the tips on what we're doing to make a difference to secure our buyer those houses and that kind of
Yeah.
stuff.
Just
Absolutely.
check out the link to our podcast to check out the conversation we're going to have with some more cocktails.
Yeah.